Hello patrons. Oh, before we go any further, this is my Thursday video for you patrons, but I think in some parts of the world it's Thanksgiving today. Thanksgiving is not on my radar at all, so it's just Thursday for me here. But I am aware that for you guys who celebrate that wherever you live, it's really special. So I hope you're having a really lovely time and enjoying meeting up with family, if that's what you do, and eating some tasty food if that's what you do, yeah, having a lovely time. So nothing Thanksgiving going on here. However, I am going to give thanks for all you patrons because this video today is the video I've been looking forward to making, because I want to explain all about how the reward tiers for Patreon in 2020, how they're going to look. Rita and Owen, I took them down to visit my dad yesterday, and they had a really lovely visit with my dad. They loved seeing each other. But then I put them on a train and they went to London, and from thence onwards in their journey to all the travels. They're having a bit of a holiday here and there, and then they're going to go back to Canada and get back to work. But they've been enormously helpful while they've been here. In fact, you know, all my kids have been helpful, and that's actually the flavour of next year's rewards. I'll go on and tell you about them in a minute. So it's nearly, the 28th of November. So it's nearly the 1st of December, and all the December Patreon rewards will be sent out to the people who have signed up to that tier. And so there'll be a load of busy going on with me and the post office on the next few days. All the rewards are ready to go. And when I say ready to go, this box of mine is full of all the I'm not going to get them out because I don't want to spoil the surprise for the people who get the postcards. But all year I've made a handmade postcard for everyone who's signed up to that level. And as it's been marvellous, the way that, you know, Patreon numbers have increased slowly over the year. It's been absolutely lovely. But it has meant that for the first week of every month, pretty much all I do is make postcards, because I set myself the goal of making them all by hand and writing them all by hand. And that's become unsustainable now. Obviously, it has. I think you probably realised that. So I'm going to explain to you now how the rewards are going to be next year, and how all my family are going to get involved in helping me make them. It's become a proper little family enterprise. It's absolutely lovely. So for all of you who signed up to Patreon, who supported me this last year, a massive, massive thank you. I have got a long-term goal, and maybe I'll talk about that at the end of this video. I will, because I keep teasing you about that, don't I? But I have got a long-term goal. So this is what the reward tiers are going to look like, and I'm going to make a new welcome video that I will put up there on, I don't know, maybe the 1st of January. That'll be the best time to do that, I suppose, because the old welcome to Patreon reward tier video won't work once I set the new tiers. So this is an option, I guess, for you guys, give you a bit of a heads up. So if you wanted to swap anything out, because I never mind people moving up and down the tiers. I mean, obviously, I love it when you join, but I don't mind if you leave. You've got all the reasons for leaving that I know nothing about, and it's completely and utterly fine. Of course it is. And so the very first reward is $1, and that is a massive thank you for helping me create. It's lovely and sunny. I'm not going to shut the sun out. I'll just move the camera around maybe slightly. Yeah. So how am I going to do this? I actually have got to just shut the sun out a little bit. That's a shame, isn't it? That's better. Yeah, that's better. Sorry. Yeah, that is better though. I can actually see what I'm doing now. So the first reward tier on Patreon is $1. And it's absolutely lovely to have people who've joined at that level. I'm a $1 patron for quite a few people who I like out in the internet, whose work I really enjoy, and I just want to support them in that very small way and just say I really value what you're doing, and here's a big hug from me. Well, here's a big hug back for all you $1 patrons. Thank you. Now, the $5 patrons have sort of slipped through the cracks a bit lately. And so if you're a $5 patron, you might be thinking, well, why am I $5 patron. Initially, that was your name on my video. And of course, all the higher tiers get all the lower tiers as well. So that would be everyone. That turned into a nightmare. I can't even begin to tell you how hard that was to manage, with some people not wanting their name on, some people have misspelled it or have left it off, or people joining and not being on that month's list, and people leaving. And I've noticed a number of people who do this, who thank patrons. They either just thank the top tier patrons, or they just put a general catch-all at the end of their videos, which is sometimes what I try to do. I try to thank patrons in that way. However, we've got a new $5 reward tier. Rita and I have come up with all of these. And so what we're going to do, I wonder if you remember back on the main channel in the summer, I did a live stream. It was a much heralded, much anticipated live stream. And I took questions in the video before, and I collated all those questions and answered them. And I really enjoyed doing it, but it was quite stressful, because when you do a live stream on the main YouTube, you have to appoint moderators, because there are always going to be some people who want to draw attention to themselves or upset the apple cart in some way. So you have to appoint moderators whose job it is to look through the comments as they're coming in and edit them or remove them. I don't like the idea of that. So here you are on Patreon. I've got an invited audience. So once a month, we're going to do a live stream for everyone who's $5 and above. And I'm going to do it in the same way. We're going to take questions. I will, the week before's Thursday video, maybe, I don't know, I haven't thought this through yet. I will ask you, I'll make it very clear, and I'll ask you what questions you would like me to talk about, or what topics we should have for discussion, or if you want me to show how I make something or whatever. We will do that, and I'll do a live stream once a month. And Rita and I worked out how to do that. It's not hard. But also, I'm going to try and time it so that it fits in with time zones all around the world. And so, just as a heads up, what we thought was that 7 o'clock on a Sunday evening, Greenwich Mean Time, would actually be all the way across the to the east or west coast US would be daytime Sunday. And then the people in the Antipodes, you know, you maybe get it Monday morning for breakfast, I don't know. It'll always be available to watch again afterwards. But the live stream is going to be the reward tier for the $5 and above. And I think that'll be fun. You submit questions, I collate them all, I'll answer them once a month. I'm not going to do a live stream on the channel unless something seriously changes about that, because it's too hard to police that. Okay, the $10 is going to stay exactly the same as it is now. I'm going to aim to do a video every Thursday, which is what this one is. And all the videos, past videos, all the readings, all the walks around the lake, all the chats, all the posts that I do will be free. You know, they're still there. They'll be available for everybody who joins at $10. That's absolutely wonderful. Now, then we start getting into the rewards now that have a physical thing attached to them and go to the post office, and I send them. The $20 has been the postcard. So after the December postcard, which is just here, there won't be any more handmade postcards. We have got a new thing coming instead. And so I've been working with Adam and Martha to make the $20 reward tier a printed thing. So I'm going to write it, Martha's going to illustrate it, and Adam's going to print it. Adam works at a university where he teaches art, and he has a litho press, and he's going to do lithographs of this, and it's going to largely be around recipes. So they're not going to be recipes like a recipe book. They're going to be something that I love to make for my family, the story about why I love it, or my friends, and then the guidelines on how to make it. If it's a recipe, there'll be quantities and ingredients and so on. And now I haven't picked up what I needed to pick up. That's okay. It's going to be, I'll have to get it. Excuse me, I'll just get that now. It's only here. I should have picked this up before I started talking, because you know I'd never edit these videos. Okay, let's sit back down again. I'm tired today. I drove all the way to Preston and back yesterday in a day in the dark. Okay, so back to the lithographed. We're going to loosely call it a recipe. In fact, I'm calling it Last Tony Howe's Kitchen. That's what we're calling it. And it's going to be, we hope, we haven't made the first one yet, but we're hoping it's going to be A4 folded like that. So it's A5. And there'll be holes in here. And with the first time I send one to you, I'll send you one of these little metal clip things that so that you can collate them all together and make yourself a set of Last Tony Howe's Kitchen. I think they're going to be great, but I love the fact that Adam's offered to print them for me, and Martha's going to do some lovely line drawings in there. So Martha and Adam are really up for helping me to do that. So that's the $20 reward tier. Now, the $40 reward tier then, that's been a thing in the past that I've made, or latterly my friends have made, and it's been a thing that I've sent through the post, and it's been limited. I've had to put a cap on that one because there's a limit to the number of things I can make, physically make or get from my friends. So the $40 reward tier I'm really quite excited about, because Rita and I have been talking about it while she's been here, and I think we've devised something that is going to work really well. I've wanted to do this for the longest time, and because Rita is interested in doing this as well, we are finally going to make a zine. So just over here, and I'll maybe show you that later, is what I'm calling the hub, which is the plan for the zine for the first 12 months of its life. It's going to be themed. You'll find out what the themes are when you get the first one. It's going to be printed at my printers that do all my calendars and cards and books and so on. And it's going to be collated and put together by Rita, who has experience of this stuff. This is what's always stopped me in the past, is that I've got the ideas and so on, but I haven't got the layout skills to be able to do this properly. So there's going to be lots of little sections in it. I mean, you'll also get the Last Tony Howe's Kitchen popped in there as well, so that'll be part of it. But in the sections then, let me see if I can remember what the sections are. So there's going to be bits of, it's going to be lovely and colourful. So there'll be an editorial from me. There's a section going to be called Meet Kate's Mates, where we're going to showcase one of my talented friends every month who makes things. There's going to be a little pull out in the middle you can stick on the wall if you want to. All sorts of really interesting bits and pieces. The cats have got their own section as well. But actually, I think the hens might make it into that section as well. It might just be the menagerie. But it's going to be a zine, and this isn't how it's going to look. But this is our mock-up of what we thought it might look like, with a cover that I create. But then we made this very, very big one to work on. And so you can see that, can't you, that what we've got in here is all manner of interesting bits and pieces on that month's theme. Now, the joy of this is I won't have to put a cap on it. So if people have been disappointed before because they haven't been able to, receive that, then there won't be a cap on this one, because the printers are going to print. I mean, they'll only print a limited number. We'll have to work that one out. But we went to see the printers, Rita and I, last Thursday. That video was all about going to see the printers, wasn't it? We went to see the printers, and Sharon is very excited about helping me to put this together. And so that's going to be mostly done by email with Rita, and then she'll email the file to the printers. I think I get to see it first. Yes, I do. And that's going to be a zine, which I'll be able to post out to you once a month at that $40 tier. I'm quite excited about this one. In fact, I'm very excited about it, because one of the things that this will free me up to do, with Rita helping and Martha and Adam helping and Anna, because Anna's going to do quite a lot of the photography for the zine. She's going to photograph the people and do some of the photos, because she loves taking photographs. And so the whole family is involved in this. I'll tell you what John's going to do in a minute. And Owen is just awesome, but he doesn't want to be in front of the camera. He's always very happy to just be producing things like, he's behind the cameras on his dark materials. You would never see him in front of the camera. That's fine. That's where he belongs. And so he's terribly supportive and encouraging, and will do little videos for me and little bits of helpful things. But you're never going to see Owen, and so that's fine. So the zine then, fantastic, very, very excited about that. Ask me any questions you want to about that one. The whole family is going to be involved in that all the way along the line. And then we're going to introduce one more tier, because none of those tiers that have gone before will have caps on, because I won't have to cap them. But I do want to introduce one more tier, which is like a bit exclusive. I really, really loved putting the Christmas boxes together. I loved putting them together. And so one for 5 people only, because I have to put a cap on this because this is going to be quite a lot of work. I'm going to do a gift box which will either have something I've made and or some locally produced things. I've got a list of things coming together for each month, and that's going to be the $100 tier, and there are only going to be 5 of them. Now, I don't expect anyone to subscribe to that unless you want to, but it might be the sort of thing that you would get yourself as a birthday present, or a Last Homely House gift box for that month. And they will come packed up to you once a month, and it's a little bit along the lines of the Christmas box, because I so enjoyed doing that. It was the best fun. So that's going to be the 5th tier. There is one more thing to say about all these tiers. This is getting into a long video. Sorry about this. People who support creators on Patreon do so because they really, I believe, I know this is why I support people, because they really like what they're doing and they want to add their support and financial support towards what they're doing. I have a number of patrons who have opted out of receiving any rewards at all, because that's their main aim in being a patron, is simply to support me. And that's marvellous too. I have absolutely no problem with people wanting the rewards that are offered, but I also welcome people who just want to be a patron for a limited time or a longer time or whatever, because there's an ability on Patreon just to go in any tier you like and just pledge whatever you like for as long as you like. And that is completely and utterly marvellous. So thank you for that. I'll just explain what John's going to be doing. Now, John, both my sons are patrons, so John might be seeing this for the first time as a patron. Isn't that marvellous that both my sons are patrons? So, John, this is what you're going to be doing, love. We got into a muddle with pinning the patrons, quite a muddle. Also, John has been incredibly busy doing this course that he's doing. It's coming to the end soon, this management course that he's doing from work. So not only is he working full time, but he's also studying as well. And it's a really intensive course. He has to travel to Leeds and London and various places and take part in quite intensive training, and then do assignments and do presentations and so on. He's taking it very seriously, and he's doing really well at it, and working full time, and, being married to Anna and having a job and a wife and a family and all of that, Agnes. And so the pinning videos have not happened. What we're going to do, John, if you're listening, every time I do a welcome to Patreon video at the beginning of each month, I'm going to write all the names onto pins, and you're going to pin them during that month that they joined. How does that sound, John? And then we'll make sure that everybody who is a patron gets pinned on the board. I'll firstly have to check through everybody else and see how they're doing. We need to get people out of the sea. There's still people in Atlantis. It's not good, is it? So bear in mind that John and I will try and do that as soon as we can. So I was saying, and then a text came in and I had to stop because Martha's coming over shortly. With Agnes, and obviously. And so the reason why it's important for me now to free up some time, not writing out postcards and not making laboriously stuff. The reason for that is I really need to free up some time to do the thing that I love best of all, which is write. I love to write. And those of you who've got my little books, they're no great Shakespeare or Dickens or anything like that. But I love to do it, and it's the way I express myself. I keep journals, I write, I do all sorts. And I want to do more of that. So hopefully writing the zine with Rita will be good, but it will free me up to do some more writing. And it might be that I can write some of the stuff that I've got in my mind that I want to write about my journey to this point. Now, Patreon invites you to set goals. And when I first started Patreon, I set a goal to buy a camera, and you guys hit that really quickly, and I bought a camera. It's gone back to the repairers at the moment because it's not working. However, it's still in warranty. It's something simple, I'm sure, but I'm now filming on my camera and it's working really well. So I think, you know, we're not stuck for recording at all. Why was I telling you that? Why was I telling you that? I remember. So Patreon invites you to set goals. And I've resisted doing that because it feels to me a little bit like things that I want. I want this, I want this. I don't want anything except this big thing I'm about to tell you about. I don't want things. I've got all the things I need. I've got a wonderful family. I've got my cats. I've got my stuff, you know, and my creativity. I've got all that. However, here we go. In the next few years, I want to buy a house. I know that seems completely crazy because this is an amazing house and I've lived here for nearly 35 years. However, I rent this house and garden. And I don't know if you rent, if you've got an opinion about renting, what you feel about that. But it feels to me like I never talk about the politics of renting and the whole two-tier system of, you know, the politics around all of that. There's a huge load of politics going on in the UK at the minute because there's a general election kicking off. And I do get very, very engaged in politics. I canvass for my local party and I do stuff on election day and so on. I always have. But I never put it on the channel because, you know, I think people have got their own opinions about that. I do rant on a bit on Facebook. If ever anybody squirrels me out on Facebook, it's usually about thumping the table about the terrible injustices that are happening in politics. But that's my own opinions, and I don't want to share them with people. But renting's a mug's game. And I would like to think that my finances that have been going in a backwards direction since I've been living on my own for 9 years now, and largely living on savings. And for the past 7 of those years, everything's been going in a backwards direction. And now, for the first time since I've been living independently, it's now actually starting to go in a forward direction. And it's absolutely unbelievable. I can't even begin to tell you the difference that's made to how I feel about what's possible. What is possible is that I could possibly, in a few years' time, buy a house. So I'm not in a great tearing hurry to leave here. I like living here, but renting is not a sensible way to live. And so that's what Patreon's for. I'm not going to set that as a goal, not at all. But any tiny amount of money that comes in, I don't spend it, all goes back into savings because that's what I'm saving up for. There you go. It's a big one, isn't it? I've got some ideas, I've got some thoughts. I'm not moving away from the area, not at all. Not now with John and Anna and Martha and Adam and Agnes. You know, I need to stay here. And I really love living around and about here. It won't be too far at all, but it will be not at the Last Homely House. Maybe we'll create a new Last Homely House, but it won't be for years, guys. It won't be for years. And I don't not love living here. I love living here. Love living here. But the whole politics of how it works here, and how long it takes me to get repairs done, and how I don't want to go into all of that because it's quite dull. But it actually does take up a lot of time and money that I'll never see again. So we're working towards a goal, and I'm not going to write that goal on Patreon, but that's my goal. There you go. I told you I'd tell you one day, and I have. Right, I'm going to make a much shorter video and stick it up on the Welcome to Patreon channel for people who are thinking of joining in January. I'm going to get busy with sending out all the rewards for December very, very soon. And with that will be, I think I've written a little letter that says, that says that there's going to be changes I'll write the changes in, I've written the changes in that little letter there that will go in with each of your rewards. So if you decide to carry on supporting me in 2020, that would be marvellous. Those are the changes that are going to be made. Please do ask me any questions at all that you've got. I'm excited about them all. I really am. I'm excited about the zine because it's going to be a little bit interactive as well. Rita's got some cool ideas. She's a great kid. They're all my kids are fantastic. They really are. And so I'm going to wind this up now because it's long, and I'm going to edit it and stick it up for your Thanksgiving if you're having one, for your Thursday if you're having a Thursday. We're all having a Thursday. For your day, whatever you're doing, this massive hug. Norma's asleep on my knee. Rita's asleep down there. Sadie and Prudence are asleep on the windowsill. And girl Rita and Owen are on a plane, and Rita forgot to take her quilt. You see it just on the design board behind me? She forgot to take it. So we're trying to work out, should I send it to her? Should I keep it till they come next time? What to do with it? Okay, that's a very long video. I seem to be getting into the habit of long videos. Please ask me any questions at all. I might just list everything I've said, you know, about the tiers in the description below so that you can have a proper read of them. And just have a great day, whatever you're doing.